A very good afternoon, people. Soon we are starting the lecture, just in a minute or so. I hope up to then that you must have revised the things which we have done yesterday in the chapter residential status. Today we'll be continuing with that chapter further. We'll complete residential status today. We'll almost start with scope of income. Exactly at 3 o'clock, I'm starting my session. Okay. Once again, a very good afternoon to all of you. Let's start the session first of all. Yesterday we have completed basic concept chapter and we have started with residential status and scope of income. I have said that this chapter is divided into two parts. One is residential status, second is scope of income. So far as residential status is concerned, either you can be individual HUF or you can be any other person. If you are individual HUF, either you can be resident or you can be non-resident. Acha, if you are resident, either you can be resident and ordinary resident or you can be resident but not ordinary resident. And non-resident means that's it. Acha, if you are any other person, then either you can be resident or you can be non-resident. Now, the process of calculating residential status is different for each and every person. First, we have to understand the status of individual. First, I will tell you two basic conditions. You have to satisfy any one of them. If you satisfy any one of the basic condition, you will become resident. Otherwise, you will become non-resident. The basic condition is given under which section? Section 6, subsection 1. Acha, once you are resident, then I will tell you two additional condition. If you satisfy both, you will become resident and ordinary resident. And if you can't satisfy one of them or both of them, you will become resident but not ordinary resident. And this additional condition is given under which section? Section 6, subsection 6. Acha, what is the first basic condition? You should be in India for at least 182 days during the previous year. Or you should be in India for at least 60 days during the year and 365 days in preceding 4 previous year. Acha, the day when you enter India, the day when you left India, both have to be counted in India. Except for crew member, because for crew member we will see some exception is there, but that we'll see later on. So up to this we have done yesterday. I have given you some, 2 to 3 small examples also. Now, today we are supposed to do some more examples on this. First, I have given over here 3 examples. Let's solve this. Mr. Agam came in India for the first time on 10th April 2024 and left on 30th June 2024. He again came in India on 1st December 24 and left on 20th March 2025. What will be his residential status if he is a foreign citizen? First, what you are supposed to do over here? First, you are supposed to calculate number of days. Number of days during the previous year 24-25, that how many days he is there in India. Month wise we have to calculate, and this is how exactly you are supposed to present. Number of days for Mr. Agam, previous year 24-25, assessment year 25-26. Now tell me, 10th April 24 he came in India. So in April month, can I say he is not there for 9 days? Because the day when he entered India is to be counted in India. So 10th day is to be included in India. So can I say in April 30 days are there? Out of that 9 days he is not there in India. So how many days he is there in India? 21. Achha, then when he left India, 30th June 24. So can I say May month fully I am in India, 31 days. June month I am there for 30 days because this date is also to be included in India. Then again I came back on 1st December. Meaning thereby July to November I am not in India. So July to November 0 days. Achha, now December. 1st December 24 I came in India. So basically in December how many days I am there in India? Full 31. January how many days are there? Full 31. February how much days I am there in India? Can I say full? That is 28. And in March month, how many days I'm there in India? Again, up to 28th March. So basically 28 days I'm there in India, totaling to 200. And can I say that is more than 182? So the first basic condition fulfilled. And as per the first basic condition, I will be resident in India. If the first basic condition is satisfied, I'm not supposed to check the second condition. I'm supposed to check the second condition only when the first condition is not satisfied. And hence, I will be called as resident of India. Now, the second question over here is, what if instead of 1st December, I'm coming back on 15th January? Means keeping all other dates as it is. Keeping all other dates as it is. Just this 1st December will be replaced with 15th January. 15th January 2025. Then what will be the number of days in India and what will be my residential status? I'm giving you 1 minute to count that. Count that and tell me how many number of days that person will be in India. Can I say there is no change in the month of April? That will remain same. There is no change in May. That will remain same. June also 30 days. July to November also 0, 0. Now December also. Can we say now December also will become 0 because I'm coming back in India on 15th January. Actually, in January, how many number of days are there? Generally 31. On which date I'm coming back? 15th January. So how many number of days I was not there in India so far as January is concerned? Can you say 14 days I was not there in India? So what I have to do over here? 31 minus 14, that remains 17 days. Achha, February how many days? 28 days. March how many days? 28 days. So what will come as a total over here? The total number of days in India will become 155. 155 days I was there in India. Tell me the residential status of mine. If I am there in India for 155 days, what will be my residential status? Firstly, can I say 182 days not satisfied? This is less than 182. However, 155 is more than or equal to 60 days. But then I have to check preceding 4 years, that how many number of days he was there in India in preceding 4 years. But the preceding 4 years ka data is not available. Yes or no? It is available, beta. It is given over here. I'm coming in the India for the first time. Now, what do I mean? If I'm coming in India for the first time, that means preceding 4 year, I was 0 days in India. And if I was 0 days in India, even though 60 days is fulfilled, but 365 days are not fulfilled, na, then I will become non-resident. My residential status will be non-resident. Are you understanding this? Each and every word in the question is important. Then, Mr. Shyam, a US citizen, from 2021, he visit India for 60 days each year. Every year he's coming to India, he's staying over here for 60 days, he's leaving India. What will be his residential status? Calculate and tell me what will be his residential status. Now, over here, can I say, first of all, we have to see what is the residential status of 24-25. What is the number of days in 24-25? 60 days. Now, how many number of days are there in preceding 4 years? Because they just do not satisfy 182 days ki condition. But at least this satisfies 60 days ka condition. Then what we have to see? How many number of days in preceding 4 years? So 23-24, 22-23, 21-22, 20-21. Can I say this 4? 64s are 240. This is less than 365. Means second condition also not satisfied. And hence this person will become non-resident for the year 24-25. Are you understanding my point, people? So yes, over here the person will become non-resident. Now tell me one thing. If I am a non-resident, the things are done. I don't have to think further. What if I'm a resident person? Whether the things end over here? No. Now I have to decide whether I'm resident and ordinary resident or I'm a resident but not ordinary resident. Acha, for this, what we have to check? Additional conditions. And additional conditions are given under which section? Section 6, subsection 6. Two additional conditions are there. You have to satisfy both of them. If you satisfy both of them, you will become R and OR. Otherwise, you will become RB and OR. Resident but not ordinary resident. But okay, tell me one thing. What layman meaning I have said yesterday? What is the meaning of resident and ordinary resident? You were there in India for majority of the days. Even you were there in India in preceding years also. And what is the meaning of RB and OR? In during the previous year you are there in India, but in preceding years you were not there in India. So basically, can we say once we have decided that during the year you are there in India, you are resident of India. Now in additional condition, tell me, are we supposed to check previous year data or preceding year's data? Which data we will be checking for this ordinary resident but not ordinary resident? Previous year data or preceding year's data? So the answer is we will check preceding year's data. We will see last year's, past years, and based on that we will understand whether he is ordinary resident or not. So section 6, subsection 6, additional condition. What is the first additional condition? The first additional condition says that first you check preceding 10 years. So our financial year is 24-25. I need to check 23-24 and 10 years. So basically 23-24 along with that preceding total 10 years. And I have to determine residential status of this 10 years. In this 10 years, I should be resident for at least 2 years. What I'm saying, in this preceding 10 years, I should be resident for at least 2 years. And if I'm resident for at least 2 years, first condition is satisfied. Question arises, how I will check preceding 10 years ka residential status? Are in the same manner as we check previous year ka residential status. Like you will go to, let's say 23-24. You will check whether 182 satisfied or 60 plus 365 satisfied. Person will become resident of that year. Similarly, you will go to 22-23 and so on. So for past 10 years, you will check number of days. Based on that, you will check residential status and how many days minimum he should be resident, 2 years. And here both the condition to be satisfied. Second condition says that in preceding 7 years, so my financial year is 24-25, preceding 7 years means 23-24, and along with that 7 years, I should be in India for at least 730 days. Not continuously, in total, at least 730 days. So in preceding 10 years, minimum 2-time resident. In preceding 7 years, he should be in India for at least 730 days. And if this both additional conditions are satisfied, the person will become resident and ordinary resident. And if not satisfied, the person will become resident but not ordinary resident. Okay. Now based on this, we will see some question answers. I have said you in my first lecture itself that all the question of ICAI we will be doing in this particular lectures only. Apart from that, I will give you some extra questions also. And afterward, I will be giving you homework sections also. And all these are printed in question answer book, which will be shared with you. Now, in this question book particularly, if you see that residential status and scope of income chapter is started, first what is written over here? Illustrations. Once that all the illustrations will be done with answers, then which second part I have given? Exercise question. That question answers once are done, then I have given some extra questions, which are some good questions for our practice purpose. Now, whatever question we will be solving, you will find the reference of the same in this notes itself. You don't have to apply your mind. You see this particular theory. After that, whatever is the reference, you go to that reference, you solve that question, you come back. So basically, you don't need to read the theory first, then all the practicals. No. You will do theory with practical, and in the same manner as is given in my textbook. So once this theory is done up to now, which question we are going to see? Extra question number 1. Now, whatever is the extra questions, I have only given questions in the question answer book. The answers are printed in my this notes. However, illustration, exercise question, and homework section, this 3 ka answer is printed in that question answer book itself. But this extra question ke answers are given in my theory notes. As you can see, this is question number 1 of extra question. The answer is given over here. I hope you understand this entire things. Now, first we are reading this question, that is question number 1. Mr. J is a citizen of Japan, but I'm least concerned with which country citizen he is. He visited India for the first time on 1st April 2019 and stayed in India up to 10th April 2022. He again came back to India on 12th January 2025 and stayed here thereafter. Determine his residential status for assessment year 25-26. Can I say they are asking us the question of 25-26, yes or no? No. Assessment year 25-26, that means previous year 24-25. That's what we have done in the first chapter. So basically they are asking the residential status of which year? Previous year 24-25. Tell me what you will apply first. Basic condition or additional condition? Obviously, as per the flow, first we have to check the basic condition. First, we have to see how many number of days he is there in India for the previous year 24-25. So first, obviously, we will check 24-25 ke number of days. Then, by looking at the question, you calculate and tell me how many number of days this person is there in India for previous year 24-25. How many number of days is there in India for the year 24-25? So first of all, can I say, we have to see as of now just 24-25. First he came on 1st April 19, then he left on 10th April 22, then again he came on 12th January 25. Means in the year 24-25, he came in India for the first time on 12th January 25. So our number of days will start from 12th January 25. And it will end on which date? 31st March 25, because our financial year ends on 31st March 25. In January, how many number of days are there? Generally 31. And he came on 12th. So how many days he was not there in India? 11. Deduct that. So 20 days he was there in India. Acha, February 28, because February 25 is not a leap year. Acha, and March, how many days? 31. So total how many days this person is there in India? 79. Now can I say this is not more than 182? However, this is more than or equal to 60 days. Now we have to check preceding 4 years. Preceding 4 years, that means 23, 24, 22, 23, 21, 22, 20, 21. Tell me how many number of days he was there in India for the financial year 23-24. So by looking at the question, can we say 23-24 he was there in India for 0 days? Okay, tell me for 22-23. Can I say he left on 10th April 22? So basically he is there in India only for 10 days. Acha, how many number of days in 21-22? Can I say for that year he was fully in India? So basically 21-22 full 365, and 2021 again he was fully in India, that will be again 365. And can I say this is more than or equal to 365? So basically 60 plus 365 condition is fulfilled, and hence this person will become what? Resident. Now once this person is resident, now what we need to check? Additional condition. And as per the additional condition, we will decide whether he is R&OR or he is RBNOR. But how to write up to this? That also we need to understand. Asha, once this lecture is done today, you will write at your own this first exercise question, and you can ask me the suggestion that sir whether this writing is proper or not, because presentation is very important. In DT, I have seen so many students getting the concept well, but cannot write the answers because they don't have writing practice. Writing practice is very important. So whatever question I tell you in each and every lecture, you will write it at your home by looking at the proper solution. When you write it at your home, you will not see the answer. You will write it in a fixed 10 minutes of time, or if the bigger question is there, 15 minutes of time, so that you feel like you are writing it in the exam. Now, how to write this particular question? You can't directly jump onto the calculation. You have to write the conditions based on which we will have the conclusions. So as per section 6 subsection 1, if you write any section and if you know that it is perfectly correct, make a box or underline. If an individual is satisfying any of the two following basic conditions, he will be resident in India. He is in India for at least 182 days. See, in exam, you cannot write greater than or equal to 182 days. Huh? It looks so cheap. You have to write in wordings at least 182 days. Or he is in India for at least 60 days during the year and 365 days during 4 preceding years. So now we will show them the calculation that we just did for 24-25, 79 days, that is more than 60. Now we will check last 4-year data, and that is 740 days, that is more than 365. And based on this, what is our conclusion? As per the second basic condition is satisfied, the person will become resident. So now what we will check? Additional condition. But before that, we have to write those additional condition. That the person will become ordinary resident or not. We have to check both additional condition as per section 6 subsection 6. First one, resident for at least 2 years out of 10 past year. Second one, he should be in India for at least 730 days in past 7 years. Now, how to disclose this calculation? Please understand, you have to find out residential status of past 10 years. And you have to show them that what are the total number of days in past 7 years. So what I prefer, first you write past 7 years on one side and balance past 3 years on other side. I would have written all the 10 years together also. But what is the problem now? If I write all the 10 years together, how will I show them the total number of days of past 7 years? Then I have to make a box like this. That is also okay. But better to show like this, wherein the 7 years ka day total can also be shown. And 10 years are also there. Achha, which columns we have prepared over here? Year. How many number of days in that year in India? And based on that, what is the residential status of that year? So first I will quote past 7 years, 23, 24, 22, 23, so on. And 8th, 9th and 10th year, 16, 17, 15, 16, 14, 15. I have written on the second side. Now see, past 4-year ka data, we don't need to see again. We have just done the workout above for calculating basic condition. So that we can just copy 0, 10, 365, 365. Now what is the one more year after that? 1920. If you see the question, he came in India on 1st April 19. So can I say entire 1920 he was there in India? Achha, 1920, February 20 is a leap year. So in 1920, how many days he was there in India? 366. Please remember this one day is very important. Let me tell you, here the question is simple. In ICAI paper, they must be giving you the question wherein because of one day your entire answer will change. So don't forget, if it is a leap year, then February will contain 29 days and accordingly you have to write 366. Achha, but can I say he came for the first time on 1st April 19? So prior to that, he was never there in India. And hence prior that we will always write 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Are you getting my points, people? Now what we have to do? We have to determine residential status of all those years. Now see, in the year 23-24, he was just there for 0 days. So can I say neither he satisfied 182 nor he satisfied 60 days. He will become non-resident. Achha, 22-23 he was there just for 10 days. Again non-resident. But 21-22 he was there for 365. He satisfied 182 days ka condition. He will become resident. Similarly, here also 182 satisfied. Here also 182 satisfied. He will become resident. Achha, prior to that, he was nowhere in India, 0, 0, 0. So in all those years, he will again become what? Non-resident. Hey, are you understanding what I'm doing, people? Now, how many years he should be resident in India? 2 years. He is resident in India for at least 3 years. Achha, past 7 year ka total is also 1106, which is more than 730. Can I say both the additional condition is fulfilled? And hence the person will become ROR, that is resident and ordinary resident. Are you getting this? So this is how we need to present this entire question. It can be asked for 4 or 5 marks with some modification, with some difficulty added to this. But if it is there in your exam, you are generally getting, 6 to 7 minutes maximum to write this answer. So at your home, whenever you practice, it may be possible that first you are taking 10 minutes. But then whenever you will practice for the second time, you will generally complete it in 7 minutes. In exam, you will be able to complete it in 6 minutes. Just have a go through to this answer. Just have a go through. Okay. Once this particular question is done, now we are supposed to see which question illustration 3. As I said, the references will be given in my notes. You just have to blindly follow. Just because it is a part of illustration, can I say the answer will be given in that question answer book itself. It is ICI question itself. So basically, I have just taken ICAI ka answer. The wordings are also of ICAI. So illustration 3 we will be looking at now. And answer is also there over there itself. This you don't need to write. Let us go through illustration 3, what it says. Yes. Mr. B, a Canadian citizen, comes to India for the first time during the year 2021. Now, during financial year 2021, 21-22, 22-23, 23-24, and 24-25, he was in India for 55, 60, 90, 150, 70 days respectively. Determine his residential status for AY 25-26, that is PY 24-25. First of all, tell me, how many number of days he was there in India for PY 24-25? Can I say 70 days? 182 days not satisfied. 60 days की condition satisfied. 60 satisfied. Now we have to check preceding 4 years का data. That is 150 plus 90 plus 60 plus 55. And preceding 4 year का total is 355. Now can I say that is less than 365? Means second condition is also not satisfied. So first also not satisfied, second also not satisfied. This person will become what? Non-resident. Now just because he is non-resident, you are not supposed to check additional conditions. I hope you are clear up to this. Now whatever we have seen up to now is all general case. A normal case, a general case, wherein first basic condition, any one of them, if resident, both additional condition, R and OR, otherwise RB and OR. Okay. There are 4 exceptional cases also. There are 4 cases wherein some procedure will change. For individual only, there are some 4 exceptional cases wherein residential status to be counted in some different manner. This amendment came 3 to 4 years prior, but it is written in the act in such a complex manner that generally for a student it becomes difficult to understand. What I have done over here, I have prepared one whole and soul summary chart of that 4 exception, and we will try to understand this in a flow manner. Once that understanding is done, I have given some examples, like a master example over here, to understand that 4 exceptions. Once that is done, then we have so many question answers to solve on this. Then you will understand these 4 exceptional cases peacefully and rightfully. Up to then, you have patience in yourself, you will understand each and everything. It is easy, but you need to have brain, you need to have some attention. So whatever we have done up to now was general cases, and that is applicable only when you are not covered under exceptional cases. If you are covered under exceptional cases, you don't need to follow that process. You need to follow the process which is given over here for determining residential status. Acha, which are the 4 exceptional cases? You can number it over here. 1, 2, this is 3, and this will become 4. So these are the 4 exceptional cases. Now, what is the first exceptional case? Let us understand that first exception case, right? You are an Indian citizen. Okay, first of all, if you notice all these four particular exceptional cases, here also Indian citizen, Indian citizen, Indian citizen, Indian citizen. And that's why whatever question answers we have done up to now, if you have observed, there was written like he's a Canadian citizen, he's a Japanese citizen, he's a foreign citizen, because Indian citizen might be covered in these exceptional cases. And hence those questions which we have done, in that he was not an Indian citizen, and that's why general cases were applicable. Okay, the first case, Indian citizen leaving India. What this person is doing during the year, he is leaving India, meaning thereby up to now he was staying in India. During the year he is permanently leaving India for the purpose of employment abroad. You must have seen many people going outside India for doing job over there. Those people will be covered by this first exception. Indian citizen leaving India for the purpose of employment outside India. My 2 to 3 doubts. First, what if I'm leaving India? What if I'm leaving India for trip purpose? I'm leaving India, for a leisure trip purpose, and I will come back. Whether I will be covered under this first exception or I will be covered under the general cases. I will be covered under the general cases, wherein the normal basic conditions and all to be seen. Acha, what if I'm an Indian citizen? I am leaving India for the purpose of doing business in some other country or starting my profession in some other country. Because here the word is written employment abroad. So what is I'm leaving India for this business or profession outside India? Apparently you may say that sir over here only employment word is written. So if you are going outside India for business or profession, you are not covered under this first exception. No, it is not like that. If you are leaving India for business or profession, you are still covered under this because of Kerala High Court judgment. Kerala High Court has given a judgment that here the word employment includes self-employment also. Means even though you are going for business or profession outside India, you are still covered in this first exception. So this employment is to be read as employment, business, profession. So Indian citizen leaving India for the purpose of employment, business, profession outside India. What is so speciality in this case? If you are covered in this first exception, understand, first you will check 182 days ki condition. If it is satisfied, you will become resident. But if it is not satisfied, you will become non-resident. Meaning thereby 60 plus 365 days ki condition not applicable. Only first condition applicable 182 days. The simple reason, because the country in which you are going now, that country will try to make you resident. And if we will make you resident only for 60 days in India, then you will become resident of both the countries. So first preference is to be given to that country. And that's why we will be checking only first condition of 182. We will not check the condition of 60 plus 365. See what I have written? If this is the case, basic condition B not applicable. What is basic condition number B? 60 plus 365 not applicable. If basic condition number A, that is 182 days, is satisfied, the assessee is resident, otherwise he is directly non-resident. Acha, once he is resident in India, can I say then we have to check additional condition to know whether the person is R&OR or RBNOR. That is always there. Okay. That was the first case. Indian citizen leaving India for the purpose of employment, business, profession outside India. Now the second exceptional case. You are Indian citizen. You are leaving India. Again, you are leaving India as a crew member of Indian ship which is going to foreign country. See, basically you are doing job in India. You are not leaving India because of job outside India. Your job is in India. You are of employee of Indian ship. That ship is going outside India and you are also as a crew member going outside India along with that ship. So you are an Indian citizen, you are living in India as a crew member, that is basically a team member of Indian ship which is going to foreign country. For that person also, same rule is applicable. First you check 182 days, if satisfied, resident, if not satisfied, non-resident. Don't check 60 plus 365. Are you understanding my point? Both these cases only cover Indian citizen. So, okay, first, Indian citizen leaving India for the purpose of business, profession, employment outside India. Second, Indian citizen leaving India as a crew member of Indian ship going to foreign country. In both the cases, 182 days will be checked. If yes, resident. If no, non-resident. Clear? But now a very important third exceptional case, which is a important case, complex one. If you are an Indian citizen or person of Indian origin, okay. Up to now, the two cases were covering only Indian citizen. Now this third case is covering Indian citizen also, person of Indian origin also. What is the meaning of person of Indian origin? For example, Sunita Williams. She's not Indian citizen. She's person of Indian origin. Kamala Harris, ex-vice president of USA. She was not Indian citizen. She is a person of Indian origin. Rishi Sunak, ex-PM of Britain. He was not Indian citizen. He is a person of Indian origin. Then what is the difference between these two? First of all, what is Indian citizen? How you become Indian citizen? Can I say by taking birth in India? Acha, in some of the cases, even though you have not taken birth in India, but if you satisfy some of the conditions, government can later on also give you India ki citizenship, express citizenship. But that is okay. Main point is you should take birth in India. But now how you will become person of Indian origin? If either of your parents, father or mother, or either of the grandparents, grandfather or grandmother, any one of them have taken birth in India, then you will become person of Indian origin. So for example, Sunita Williams, she has not taken birth in India, but his ancestral, either father or mother or grandfather or grandmother, any one of them must have taken birth in India. And that's why Sunita Williams is what? Person of Indian origin. Now my doubt is, what if Mr. A, his grandfather has taken birth in India? Then Mr. A and his father have not taken birth in India, but Mr. A grandfather has taken birth in India. And he has taken birth prior to 1947, and he has taken a birth in Lahore, which is at this time a part of Pakistan. But he has taken birth prior to 1947, before independence, when Lahore was not a separate country. It was not a part of separate country. It was a part of India. So Mr. A will be called as person of Pakistan origin or person of Indian origin. What he will be called as? So yes, the answer is, if any ancestral has taken birth before 1947, either in India or in Pakistan or in Bangladesh, then all these three were one country at that time, and that was undivided India. So Mr. A in my example will be called as what? Person of Indian origin. See, what is the definition I have given over here? Person of Indian origin whose either of the parents or either of the grandparents were born in India, and if before 1947, undivided India, that is India plus Bangladesh plus Pakistan. So this third case cover two persons. First, Indian citizen or person of Indian origin, they are coming to India for visit purpose. See, in first two exception, he was leaving India. In the third exception, they are coming to India. See, mainly they are living outside India, but after so many years, either they are coming to India, and we need to catch them because they are coming to India after a longer period. But for what purpose they are coming to India? Visit purpose. Now, visit can be business visit also. This visit can be personal visit also. We don't care. Either business visit or personal visit. Both the things are covered over here. First, obviously, what we will check? 182 days. If 182 days ki condition is satisfied, the person will become what? Resident. And once he is resident, now we will check what? Both additional condition. And accordingly, we will decide R&OR or RBNOR. But what if 182 days ki condition is not satisfied? Don't lose hopes. As I said, he is the person living majority time outside India. After so many years, he is coming to India. We will try to catch this person. Now we will check what is his Indian income. What we will check? What is his Indian income? Acha, law has not written the word Indian income. Law has written a word total income excluding foreign income. अरे ते भाई total income excluding foreign income. Can I say it means Indian income? This person is living mainly outside India. After so many years, he is coming to India. How he can have Indian income? Are to earn in India, you should not live in India. You can have a house property from where you can earn rental income. You can have a FD from which you can earn interest. All this income, your stay in India is not necessary. So you can still have Indian income without living in India. We have to check what is his Indian income. If Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakh for the entire year, Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakh. We will not do much exercise. He don't satisfy 182 key condition. Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakh. He's a small person. Let him be non-resident. Okay, once again, third exception case covers two person, Indian citizen or person of Indian origin. What they are doing? Coming to India. First, we will check 182 days. If satisfied, resident. If not satisfied, we will check what is the Indian income. If Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakh, person will become non-resident. If Indian income is more than 15 lakh, now we have to give one more try. We will check one more condition. Tell me what is the general basic second condition? 60 days during the year plus 365 in preceding 4 years. But this is the special case. Here condition is modified. If Indian income is more than 15 lakh, we will check the second condition 120 days during the year plus 365 in preceding 4 previous year. And if this condition is satisfied, the person will directly become RBNOR, resident but not ordinary resident, without checking additional condition. You have no need to see additional condition. You directly say him RBNOR. And if you don't satisfy this condition, then he will become what? Non-resident. Once again, see, this is the entire flow. We will do so many question answers on this. You will understand this entire flow. This law is not written in a flow format. I have just created it like a flow so that you understand what to follow first, what to follow then. Tell me, what is the first exceptional case? Indian citizen living in India for the purpose of employment, business, profession outside India. Second exceptional case, Indian citizen living in India as a crew member of Indian ship going to foreign country. In both the cases, what we will check 182 days. If fulfilled, resident. Not fulfilled, non-resident. Third, Indian citizen or person of Indian origin coming to India. First, we will satisfy 182 days की condition. If satisfied, resident. If not satisfied, now what we will check? What is his Indian income? Indian income बोले तो total income minus foreign income. If it is less than or equal to 15 lakh, non-resident. If it is more than 15 lakh, we will check one more condition, 120 days during the year plus 365 in preceding 4 years. And if it is satisfied, the person will become RBNOR. If it is not satisfied, the person will directly become non-resident. People, are you understanding this? Little you are understanding this, yes or no? Yes. 100% you will understand when we are doing question answers. Now, coming to the fourth exceptional case. Understand? So let me share you a real incident. Few years back, Amitabh Bachchan, what he has done, just to save his tax, he stayed in India, let's say only for 59 days. What will happen if he stay only for 59 days in India? Can I say he neither satisfied 182 days, not satisfied 60 days, so he will become basically non-resident. Now, what will happen if he become non-resident? Government cannot tax your all income. We will study in scope of income today itself. If you are resident, your global income taxable in India, whenever you earn, wherever you earn. But if you are a non-resident, your only income belonging to India can be taxable in India. Obviously, whatever you earn outside India will not be taxable in India. So if my more income is outside India, I don't want to pay tax in India. What I will do? I will not stay much in India. I will settle myself in some other country. And preferably, I will settle myself in such countries they don't charge tax. For example, I will settle myself in, let's say, Thailand, Panama, UAE, this kind of countries, this kind of island, which don't have income tax at all. So what will be the benefit? I will become non-resident of India. I will not pay tax in India. I am a resident of such a country which don't have income tax. So basically, global level, I'm not paying any income tax. And that's where Nirmala Sitharaman came into the picture. If you are Indian citizen, we have tried all the conditions here on you to make you resident, but still you are non-resident. But your Indian income is more than 15 lakh and you are not liable to pay tax in any other country or territory. Congratulations, you will directly become RBNOR, resident but not ordinary resident. Now we will not check any number of days you are there in India, you are not there in India. We are least concerned. If these conditions are fulfilled, which are the condition? Indian citizen, not liable to pay tax in any other country or territory, non-resident as per all other conditions, Indian income is more than 15 lakh, directly you will become what? RBNOR. So now I cannot settle myself to this tax haven countries just to save the tax. And still I'm having some passive income from India. Then by default I will become RBNOR of India and I am supposed to pay tax in India. Are you understanding this? This is master stroke. Acha, this is also called as deemed resident. So if you are asked about this particular MCQ, let's say, and in the option, instead of RBNOR, they have written deemed resident. It is one and the same. It is also called as deemed resident. As per section 6, subsection 1A. Acha, why there is a word called deemed? Actually, he is not resident. He is staying for very lower days. But can I say we are assuming him to be a resident of India? And that's why he is called as what? Deemed resident of India. But understand, this fourth case come into the picture only when you are paying no tax in any other country or territory. What I generally advise to my clients, if you want to shift outside India, shift yourself to low tax country, not to no tax country. I repeat, shift yourself to low tax country, not to no tax country. See, here the condition is if you don't pay any tax in other country, then you will become RBNOR. What if I have shifted myself to such a country which are charging lower tax, let's say 5%, 6%. I'm paying tax over there. So this condition violated, I will not become India ka RBNOR. And okay, I am paying tax over there, but very few amount of tax I'm paying over there. So I'm happy both the sides. Are you understanding this? Okay, the question arises. Here also you are supposed to check Indian income. 15 lakh. Here also you are supposed to check Indian income. What is the exact meaning of Indian income? I have written over here. Indian income means income received or accrued or controlled from India. Income received or accrued or controlled from India. Now, as of now, you will not much understand this line, but please mark this important. You will better understand this line when you are referring to scope of income. Just note down over here, that is point number 1 to 5 of scope of income. So when we are referring to scope of income chapter, scope of income topic, you will better realize that what I have written over here. As of now, we are simply supposed to revise these 4 exceptional cases and then to see some question answers based on this. First exceptional case, Indian citizen leaving India for the purpose of employment, business, profession outside India. Second basic condition, second exceptional case, Indian citizen leaving India as a crew member of Indian ship which is going to foreign country. In both these cases, what will happen? 182 days ki condition we have to refer. If satisfied, resident. If not satisfied, non-resident. We don't need to see 60 plus 365. Third case, you are an Indian citizen or person of Indian origin and you are coming to India for visit. First, we will check 182 days. If satisfied, resident. If not satisfied, we will see what is your Indian income. If less than or equal to 15 lakh, non-resident. If more than 15 lakh, we will check one more condition, 120 days during the year plus 365 in preceding 4 years. And if it is satisfied, you will become RBNOR. Otherwise, you will become non-resident. Fourth exceptional case, you are Indian citizen. You are not covered anywhere else. Non-resident as per all other condition. But your Indian income is more than 15 lakh and you are not supposed to pay tax in any other country or territory. You will become India ka RBNOR, that is another way called as deemed resident. I just want you to take 1 minute and refer this entire chart and then we'll see the question answer. But first refer it so well that you understand it thoroughly while doing question answer. Okay. Now let's refer to some examples that I have written over here. Acha, by the way, first of all, I have also written some rule over here, crew member rule number 126 and all. Then I'm coming on that in few minutes. Prior to that, let us revise those examples that I have written. First example, Mr. X, who is Indian citizen, for job in USA, he left India on 1st September 24 for the first time. What is the residential status? First of all, can I say this person is an Indian citizen? He is leaving India. He's going outside India. He's leaving India for doing job outside India. So he's covered under which exception? First exception. And in first exception, what we just need to see 182 days. If it is satisfied, resident, not satisfied, non-resident. Now he left India on 1st September 24. So can I say how many number of days he is there in India? 30 days of April, May 31, June 30, July 31, August again 31, September 1st because the day he left India to be counted in India. Total 154 days. Can I say which is less than 182? And as per exception number 1, he will become non-resident. Achha, but what if he is going for a trip purpose? Instead of job outside India, he is going for a trip purpose. Then can I say he's not covered by the exception? Then we have to check the general rule. What is the general rule? First check 182 days or check 60 plus 365. Can I say here 182 days is not satisfied, but 60 days satisfied and is leaving India for the first time. So can I say past 4 years he was completely in India. So that 365 days is also satisfied. Then what he will become? Resident, rather resident and ordinary resident because he was completely there in India up to now. So he will satisfy both additional condition also easily. He must be resident of all the past 10 years. He was completely in India. So past 7 years, 730 days is also satisfied. He will become R and OR because he is not covered under the exceptional cases. Okay, so are you understanding the flow? First, we will check whether he is covered by general cases or he is covered by exceptional cases. Accordingly, we will calculate our residential status as per the process given. Now, what I have done is, I have prepared over here one master example. What is the master example? When this amendment came, for one CA conference, I have prepared this master example. When I have tried to cover each and every exceptional cases in one particular table. Which columns I have given over here? What is the name of this person? What is the citizenship? What is the description? Either he's coming to India, going outside India. How many number of days he was there in the year 24-25? How many number of days he was there in India in last 4 years? What is his Indian income? And based on that, we will see that what is his residential status. Acha, all the columns are to be used compulsorily? No. As and when required, we'll use that data. Otherwise, we'll ignore that data. You be with me, you apply in the same manner what I'm saying to you. First, Mr. Amitabh, Indian citizen, leaving India for job. Now please understand, he is an Indian citizen. He is leaving India for job outside India. Can I say he's covered by the first exceptional case? You note down on that right hand side which exceptional case is there so that you better understand afterward. Can I say he's covered by the first exceptional case? And as per first exceptional case, we just need to see 182 days. And he is there in India only for 120 days. And that's why he will become directly what? Non-resident. Second, Mr. James, US citizen. He is also leaving India for job purpose. Tell me, whether he is covered under the first exception? Why no? In the first exception, only Indian citizens are covered, and he is not an Indian citizen. He is covered under general cases. And as per general case, can I say first either we will satisfy 182 or 60 plus 365. Here he satisfies 60 days. In past 4 years, minimum 360, minimum 365. And that's why he will become what? Resident. Now I cannot tell you R&OR or RBNOR because that necessary data I have not given in this question. So I will note down resident and I will stop over there. Then Mr. Shahrukh, Indian citizen, coming to India for visit purpose. Tell me, if you are an Indian citizen, you are coming India for visit purpose. So can I say over here you are basically covered under the third exception? And as per the third exception, basically third exception, first you need to check 182 days. Can I say here 182 days not satisfied? Now what you will check? Whether his Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakh or more than 15 lakh. Here his Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakh. So he will directly become what? Non-resident as per the flow. Are you understanding this? Then Mr. Amir, he is also Indian citizen coming to India for visit purpose. Can I say again he is covered by the third exception? Now as per third exception again, first we will check 182 days which is not satisfying over here. Now we will check what is the Indian income. Can I say Indian income is more than 15 lakh? So now we have to check one more condition, that is 120 days during the year plus 365 days in preceding 4 years. Here 120 days satisfied, 365 days satisfied. The person will become RBNOR, resident but not ordinary resident. Okay, Mr. Saif, Indian citizen, coming to India for visit purpose. Again, can I say third exception? Again, first what we will check? 182 days. And here 182 days ki condition is satisfied. And hence this person will become resident. Now, whether R&OR or RBNOR, that totally depends on additional condition and based on that we will decide. Mr. Vin Diesel, US citizen, coming to India for visit purpose. Whether he is covered under third exception? No. Because you are covered in the third exception only if you are either an Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin. This person is merely US citizen. He is covered under general cases, wherein we have to see either 182 days or 60 plus 365. Can I say 60 days satisfied, 365 days satisfied? This person will become what? Resident. General cases. That's what we saw yesterday and today beginning. Acha, Mr. Jay, Indian citizen, not charged in any country, even not coming to India at all. Indian income is 16 lakh. First of all, can I say he is not coming to India at all? 0 days. If you apply any of the other condition, he will become non-resident. So now check, he is an Indian citizen. Non-resident as per all other condition, but Indian income is more than 15 lakh and he is not charged to pay tax in any other country or territory. What he will become? RBNOR. Can I say he's covered under the fourth exceptional case? Acha, what is the second name of RBNOR? Deemed resident. We can also call him deemed resident. Now, Mr. Viru, Indian citizen, not charged in any country, even he is not coming to India. Again, it seems that this person is covered under the fourth exception. But you see, the Indian income is only 13 lakh. Can I say it is not more than 15 lakh? So he's not covered under the fourth exception also. And if he's not covered under the fourth exception, then can I say we have to check number of days, which is 00. So basically, he is what? Non-resident. This case comes under general cases. Hey, why I have written general cases? See, first of all, fourth case is applicable only when Indian income is more than 15 lakh. Here, to Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakh. So fourth case not applicable. Whether the third case is applicable? No, because to get covered in the third case, you should come to India for visit purpose. He is not coming to India at all. So even he is not covered under third exception also. So where this Viru is covered ultimately general cases. And that's why I have written over here general cases. Acha, Mr. Lalit, Indian origin but US citizen, not coming to India. Indian income is 16 lakh. Can I say more than 15 lakh? Let's assume he's liable to pay tax, no tax in USA, no tax in any other country. He's not paying tax anywhere. Tell me whether this person is covered under the fourth exception? No. Why? No. In fourth exception, only Indian citizen is covered. Person of Indian origin is not covered. Person of Indian origin is only covered under the third case. And to get covered in the third case, you should visit India. And here in my example, the person, even though he is an Indian origin, but he is not coming to India. And this person is not an Indian citizen. And that's why not covered in the fourth exception. And basically, he's not coming to India. So he's not covered under third exception also. So basically, he is covered under general cases. And general cases have 2 points, either 182 or 60 plus 365. He satisfies nothing, and that's why he will become what? Non-resident. Are you understanding this master example? Each and every case I have tried to cover over here. Still, we have some 4 examples to see on this. But before that, just have a quick look on this master example. Just have a quick look on this. Go through it quickly. Okay. Now, guys, we will see 4 examples. First, we will refer illustration number 1. Then we will refer our illustration number 2. So you must be understanding that if it is an illustration, the answer will be given in my question answer book itself. Then we will see extra question number 2 and 3. Just because it is extra question, the answer is given under particularly my notebook itself, that is theory notes itself. First, we are going to see illustration number 1. But before we see illustration number 1, first we see illustration number 1. There is one small point to discuss, which I have not discussed earlier, which I have kept blank. Now, what is that illustration number 1? Okay, tell me, how to count number of days in India? The day when entered in India, the day when you left India, both are to be counted in India. But I have written one thing over here, except crew member. For crew member, some exception is there. What is that exception? What was the difficulty for a crew member? If I'm a crew member, I'm entering into a ship, and once that ship will start moving outside India, when exactly that will move outside India, I don't know. Because up to 12 nautical mile, there is the territorial water. Up to 200 nautical mile, exclusive economic zone. I'm still there in India. When that ship is, going outside these limits, I don't know. So for a crew member, it was becoming very difficult to count number of days in India. That when they entered, when they left, they don't know. This is not a problem for a flight because flight goes, in fraction of seconds outside India. But ship is going very slowly. It may take some months also. And that's why the crew member in was in a trouble that we don't know how to count number of days in India. And that is where income tax rules have given a rule called rule number 126. Now, what is this rule number 126? They said, okay, you don't see actual number of days in India. We will do one shortcut. Once as a crew member you enter the ship to attend your duty, you are told to sign a certificate that is attendance sheet. Basically CDC, continuous discharge certificate. And when you left the ship after attending your duty, you are coming back to India, you are, again re-entering on the port. Again, you are supposed to sign that certificate that is again called as what? Continuous discharge certificate. So let's say I entered the ship on 1st April 24. The date will be entered in CDC, continuous discharge certificate. I went to, let's say, Australia. I again came back to India. And finally, I left the ship on, let's say, 30th June 24. That date will also be entered in CDC. First, rule number 126 says that you calculate how many number of days you are there in the ship. And that will be the date entered into CDC. And the day of leaving of CDC. Both these days will be counted in the ship. So here it is totally reverse. The day when you entered the ship will be counted in the ship. The day when you left the ship will be counted again in the ship. So tell me how many number of days you are there in the ship in this example. How many number of days you are there in the ship? Can I say April 30 days plus May 31 plus June 30 totaling to 91 days. And if 91 days you are there in the ship, that means assume that you are not there in India. Now tell me how many number of days in India? 365. How many days you are there in the ship? 91. So basically how many number of days you are there in India? 274. Shortcut. Why to see when actually you was there in India? You count number of days like this, wherein you will apply rule number 126. And what rule number 126 says that presence in India is equal to 365, and if it is a leap year, 366 minus days as per CDC. What is the meaning of CDC? Continuous discharge certificate. Here the day entered and left in the ship will be counted in the ship. That is totally reverse than normal. Now based on all this, we will refer first of all illustration number 1. Sorry. Okay, illustration number 1. Mr. Anand is an Indian citizen and a member of the crew of a Singapore bound Indian ship engaged in the carriage of passenger in international traffic departing from Chennai port on 6 June 24. From the following details, for the previous year 24-25, determine the residential status of Mr. Anand for assessment year 25-26. Assuming that his stay in India in last 4 years is 400 days. First of all, you tell me, is it a general case or exceptional case? Is it a general case or exceptional case? So let me tell you, this is exceptional case because he is an Indian citizen. He is living in India as a crew member of Indian ship going to foreign country. So this is basically exception case number two. And in exception case number two, we just need to see 182 days. We are least concerned about preceding 4 years ka data. We are least concerned about that. And that's why whatever they have given in preceding 4 year ka data, we have to ignore that. We have to just check 182 days. Arey, but first we need to calculate how many number of days we are there in India. So for that, what they have given, date entered into continuous discharge certificate while joining the ship, that is 6th June. Date entered into continuous discharge certificate while signing off the ship, that is 9th December. And both these days will be counted in the ship as per rule 126. Count and tell me how many number of days this person is there in the ship. First you count that. How many number of days he is there in the ship? Both the days to be counted in India. So can I say June 30 days are there? 6 days he is there in the ship, basically. 5 days is not there in the ship. So 25 days plus July plus August plus September plus October plus November plus 9 days of December. If we do the total of this, we will find 187. Can I say 187 days he is there in the ship? Acha, how many number of days in the year total? 365. From that 187 days he is there in the ship. So how many number of days he is there in India? Remaining days, that is 178. And that is less than 182. And we have to check only 182 days, which is not fulfilled over here. The person will become non-resident because we don't satisfy 182 days ka condition. The person is not satisfying 182 days ka condition, and hence that person will become non-resident of India. Are you understanding this, people? Now, once this particular illustration is done, now we are supposed to see the second illustration. After each and every chapter, if you see my notes, let me show you. What I have given is in what time you should done with this chapter while revising the same. What is the important section numbers that you need to remember? And most importantly, I have given you which are the last day ka question. On the last day, you cannot refer the entire question bank. In each and every chapter, I will tell you that when the last day of exam is there, only this much questions are to be done. Then you don't need to think anything. You just need to read the theory and you need to solve only those question answers which I have written in this particular table. Illustration number 2 is last day wala question. See, my wordings are very clear. On last day, you will see only this question. Prior to that, whenever you are doing anything, you will refer each and every question which is given in my question bank. But yes, illustration 2 is very important, and that's why on last day also you will refer that. Britley, an Australian cricket player, visit India for 100 days in every financial year. And this has been his practice for past 10 financial year. Means every year he is coming to India, he is staying in India for 100 days, he leaves India. And as per the name, you can understand he's Britley, he's Australian cricket player. He don't sound like Indian citizen. So basically he's Australian citizen. Calculate his residential status. Okay. First of all, you tell me one thing, whether this is covered under exceptional case or this is covered under general case. Exceptional case or general case? So can I say he's an Australian citizen? An Australian citizen is not covered under exceptional cases. This person is covered under general case. As per the general case, first either 182 or 60 plus 365. Accordingly, you tell me what will be his residential status, and don't just tell me resident or non-resident. If he is a resident, you apply additional condition also, and you tell me the final residential status, RBNOR, RNOR, or non-resident. Any one of this. Tell me. Now, can I say For the year 24-25, he's there in India. For the year 24-25, he's there in India for 100 days. That means more than 60 days. So we have to check past 4 year ka data. And past 4 year he was there in India for 100 days. That is total 400 days. He satisfied 365 days also. 60 days satisfied, 360 days satisfied. He will become resident of India. Now, once he become resident of India, now we need to check additional condition. You know which first additional condition you need to check? 730 days, because it is easy to count. Tell me how many number of days he was there in India in past 7 years. So can I say in the past 7 years, in all the years he was there in India for 100 days, totaling to only 700 days, less than 730 days. And if any one of the additional condition is also not satisfied, the person will become resident but not ordinary resident. Don't check the other additional condition. If any one of them is also not satisfied, he will become what? RBNOR. So yes, the person over here is RBNOR. But now, the second one. Would your answer change if the above fact relate to Srinath, who is Indian citizen, who reside in Australia, represent Australian cricket team? So basically, he is an Indian citizen living in Australia. Every year comes to India for 100 days, and this is his practice for past 10 years. Now tell me what will happen. Tell me what will be his residential status. First of all, you tell me now whether he's covered under general case or exceptional case. So now can I say he is an Indian citizen, he's coming to visit India, he will be covered under the third exceptional case. Acha, in third exceptional case, what first thing we are supposed to check? 182 days. And can I say 182 days are not satisfied over here? It is only 100 days. Okay. Now we have to check what is his Indian income. In the absence of any information, we can assume anything. And you can write your assumption accordingly, you can write your answer. We are assuming over here that his Indian income is more than 15 lakh. Tell me, if Indian income is more than 15 lakh, which other condition we need to check now? 120 days during the year plus 365 in preceding 4 years. Can I say he is there in India only for 100 days? That means this 120 days ka criteria is not satisfied. And if that is not satisfied, the person will become what? Non-resident. So if we assume an Indian citizen and Indian income more than 15 lakh, then also this person becomes what? Non-resident. Because he don't satisfy 120 days ka criteria. So he will be treated as non-resident. But now the third one. What would be your answer if Srinath had visited India for 120 days instead of 100 days every year, including 24-25? Now can I say if instead of 100 days, he lives in India for 120 days, then this condition will satisfy. 120 days will also satisfy. 365 days will also satisfy. And that's why if 120 plus 365 days wali condition is satisfied, the person will directly become what? RBNOR, that is resident but not ordinary resident. See, over here, now he will satisfy 120 days plus 365 days ki condition. Indian income is also exceeding 15 lakh. And that's why he will become what? Resident but not ordinary resident in India. Obviously, if we assume his Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakh, so directly he will become what? Non-resident. Because he is not satisfying 182 days. You remember that flow. So they have written answer based on both the assumption. We are not supposed to do that in the exam. We can write any one of the assumption and we can conclude accordingly. Okay. After these two illustrations, now let us refer to extra question that I have given. Extra question number 2, extra question number 3. First, we'll see extra question number 2. F was born in France in 1969. Father was born in Australia in 1939. But F's grandfather was born in Dhaka in 1915. So it's a wide range of family. But what is the moral of this one line you see? F was born in France, father was born in Australia, grandfather was born in Dhaka in 1915. Can I say Dhaka is a part of Bangladesh? And his grandfather has taken birth prior to 1947 in Bangladesh, which at that time was a part of India. So basically, F will become person of Indian origin. That is the crux of this. That F became person of Indian origin. Will F be a resident in India if he visit India for 181 days during the previous year, assuming his Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakhs? So tell me, in which exception this person is covered or general cases? Can we say this person is covered under exception number 3? Indian citizen coming to India for visit purpose. First, we need to check 182 days, which is not satisfied. Now we will check what is his Indian income, that is less than or equal to 15 lakh. Then directly non-resident. We don't need to see 120 plus 365 because Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakh. So how to write this answer now? First of all, we'll write that as the grandfather of Mr. F was born before 1947 in Bangladesh, which at that time was a part of India, F will be called as person of Indian origin. As per section 6 subsection 1, if an Indian origin comes to visit India, we have to check only first basic condition of 182 days if Indian income is less than 15 lakh, which in this case is. And hence the person will become what? Non-resident. Are you understanding this? Achha, but a better question is question number 3. Okay. Before we go to this question, you tell me what I'm asking you. Let's say in this year, 24-25, I left India for employment outside India. I'm covered under which exception? First. In the subsequent year, that is 25-26, I'm coming to India for visiting my parents. Now in the year 25-26, I will be covered under which exception? Can I say third? Because for 25-26, what it will be said? Indian citizen coming to India for visit purpose. So as per the situation, exceptions will change year to year. Based on this, we have to see this example. X, a citizen of India, left India for the first time on 6th June 21 for employment abroad. Achha, during 22-23 and 23-24, he visited India for 145 days and 165 days respectively. In the year 24-25, he came to India on 7th April 24 and left on 30th November 24. What is the residential status assuming Indian income less than or equal to 15 lakh? Okay. First of all, you tell me in which year he left India. Can I say he left India in the year 21-22 for employment abroad and he is an Indian citizen? So in the year 21-22, he is covered under the first exception. But then 22-23, 23-24, 24-25, now he's already outside India. He's just coming to India for visit. So for all these 3 years, under which exception he's covered? Can I say for all these 3 years, he's covered under the third exception? Indian citizen coming to India for visit purpose. Yes. For the year 24-25 also, he's covered under the third exception. Achha, when a person is covered under the third exception, what we have to check first? 182 days. Can I say here, he came to India on 7th April 24, left on 30th November 24. Please count and tell me how many number of days he is there in India. So can I say for 7th, from 7th he is there in India. So 6 days he was not there in India. April 24, May, June, July, August, September, October and 30 days of November. And if we do total of all, 38. And can I say this is more than or equal to 182? And if 182 days ki condition is satisfied, the person will be said as resident. But only resident is not sufficient. Now can I say we have to decide whether R&R or RBNR? And for that, what we need to check? Additional condition. So now we will be checking additional condition. In additional condition, what we have to check? what is the residential status of past 10 years, and how many number of days he was there in India for past 7 years. And for that, I have said that first we will make a column like past 7 years, and on the second side, we'll make a column like past 3 years. For each and every year, we will write number of days in India. 23-24 question itself has given 165. 22-23 question has given 145. So 165, 145. For the year 21-22, he left on 6th June 21. So basically, indirectly, they have given number of days like April 30, May 31, June 6 days. Total, he was there in India for 67 days. Acha, now please understand, he left India for the first time. So can I say prior to 21-22, he was completely in India? That means this is 365, here 366 because 1920, February 20 leap year. 365, 365, 365, 1516 again leap year 366, again 365. Now, whenever 182, more than 182 is there, can I say for all those years he is resident? Because first basic condition fulfilled. Resident, resident, resident. I wanted him to be resident only for 2 years. He is resident in bulk. Acha, for the past 7 years, what is the total number of days in India? 1838, which is obviously more than 730 days. Can I say both the additional condition is fulfilled? And hence the person is resident and ordinary resident, R and OR, because we satisfied both additional condition. Are you understanding this? Quickly have a look on the answer which I have given over here. First, you need to tell them that this person is covered under the exception. So first we'll check 182 days. Then you will see the number of days for each and every month. And if it is more than 182, the person will become resident. And then you need to see the additional conditions. For that, you will show the calculation. And if both the additional condition is satisfied, what you will note down, the person is a resident and ordinary resident. So that was everything about residential status of individual. If we quickly revise residential status of individual, either there will be general cases or there will be exceptional cases. General cases means the case which is not covered under exceptional. General cases, first we need to check any of the basic condition, either 182 days in India or 60 days plus 365 in preceding 4 previous year. If satisfied, person is a resident, otherwise he is non-resident. If the person is a resident of India, now we will check two additional conditions. First, in past 10 years, he should be in India for 2 years at least, resident. And past 7 years, total number of days should be 730 days. If both additional conditions satisfied, R and OR, otherwise RB and OR. Now, things comes to exceptional cases. First exceptional case, you are Indian citizen, you are leaving India for employment, business, profession outside India. We will check only 182 days. We will not check 60 plus 365. Second exceptional case, Indian citizen leaving India as a crew member of Indian ship going to foreign country. Again, we will check 182 days. We will not see 60 plus 365. Third exceptional case, Indian citizen or person of Indian origin coming to India for visit purpose. First, we'll check 182 days. If not satisfied, we'll see what is his Indian income. If Indian income is less than or equal to 15 lakh, non-resident. More than 15 lakh, 120 plus 365 days. If satisfied, RB and OR. Not satisfied, non-resident. Fourth case, you are Indian citizen, non-resident as per all other cases, but your Indian income is more than 15 lakh. You are not supposed to pay tax in any other country or territory. You will become India ka RB and OR, that is deemed resident. Acha, what is the meaning of person of Indian origin whose either of the parents or either of the grandparents have taken birth in India and if before 1947 undivided India? How to count number of days for a crew member? Rule number 126, 365 or 366 minus days as per CDC, that is continuous discharge certificate. And can I say that basically what is the meaning of Indian income? The income which is either accrued in India or controlled from India or received in India. That will see better in scope of income. That was all about residential status of individual. Now, we'll take a short 10 minutes of break and then we'll come to residential status of HUF and further. We'll exactly resume at 4 o'clock and 38 minute. 4 o'clock and 38 minute will exactly resume. Thank you. Okay. Now, dear friends, let's come back. Perfect. Before going to break, we have done residential status of individual. Now we are supposed to know residential status of HUF. That what how to count residential status of HUF, because see, HUF can also be resident, HUF can also be non-resident, and if HUF is resident, again it can be RNOR or it can be RBNOR. And all that stuff we are supposed to see now. The section is section 6 subsection 2, read with section 6 subsection 6. For individual, what was the section? Section 6 subsection 1, read with section 6 subsection 6. For HUF, as I said, Acha, tell me, if for individual we are using the condition like 182 days or 60 plus 365, can we use the same condition for HUF to check the residential status? I mean, ever you have heard that HUF is going outside India? I mean, isn't it too obvious that HUF is a non-human being? It will be always in India. How to count number of days in India? And that's why. If we are talking about residential status of HUF, if we are talking about residential status of HUF, we need to see some separate thing. We have to see where is the control and where is the management. See, generally the Karta is having the control. Management can be with any person. We have to see from where the control is being done, from where the management is being done. If control and management of HUF both are wholly outside India, HUF will become non-resident. So let's say the person who is having all the decision power is also situated outside India. The person who is doing management is also situated outside India. Both are outside India. Then HUF is just for a name function. It is there registered in India. Otherwise, it's totally working also outside India. The HUF will become non-resident. But if HUF ka control or management wholly or partly in India, wholly or partly in India, then the person will become resident of India. So let's say the Karta who is doing the control is outside India. The person who is doing the management is within India. HUF will become resident of India. Yeah, vice versa. The person who is managing the HUF is situated outside India, but the person who is the Karta who is taking all the key decisions are situated in India. Then again the HUF will become resident of India. Now, once the HUF is resident of India, the things doesn't end over here. Now we need to see that whether the Karta of the HUF satisfy both additional condition. Now those additional conditions are same. Minimum 2 years resident out of 10 past year. Minimum 730 days in India out of past 7 years. And if that thing is satisfied, both additional condition is satisfied by Karta, HUF will become R and OR. Otherwise, HUF will become RBNOR. See here, R and OR, RBNOR, we are not doing for individual. For individual, residential status is to be counted separately. HUF is a separate person. What we are deciding over here, R and OR, RBNOR, NR, it is for HUF. So very easy. See, first you will see from where control or management is being done, and that will be given in the question. If both the things outside India, HUF is a non-resident. If wholly or partly in India, HUF will become resident. Now what we'll see, whether Karta satisfied both additional condition. If yes, so HUF will become R and OR. If no, so HUF will become RBNOR. I have written one line over here, and that line is Karta can be non-resident, but still HUF can be RNOR or RBNOR. Now, what do I mean by this? The line states that there is no relevance of individual residential status with HUF residential status. Both can be totally different. It may be possible that Karta in his individual capacity is a non-resident, but still the HUF can be RNOR or RBNOR. It may be possible that Karta in his individual capacity is RNOR, but still the HUF can be non-resident or HUF can be RBNOR. Both are totally different. The simple reason being, see, here we are looking at Karta, we are looking at additional condition of Karta, but it is only direct additional condition. We are not looking at the basic condition first. First basic, then additional. It is applicable in case of individual residential status. Here we are looking at residential status of HUF. Here basic condition is replaced with control and management. And if it is there in India, we directly look at additional condition of Karta without looking at his basic condition. And because of that, his residential status can be different and HUF ka residential status can be different. Now what I'm saying to you, you will better understand when we are doing this two question. First, we are looking at extra question number 4. Extra question number 4. Ramchandra HUF, partly controlled from India. Mr. Ramchandra, the Karta of HUF, is visiting India for 50 days every year since 2021. Prior to that, he was visiting India for 200 days every year. Determine his residential status of Ramchandra HUF and Mr. Ramchandra. What we will be doing is, we will determine residential status of both of them. Okay. First, we will be solving Mr. R, that is Ramchandra, in his individual capacity. Tell me one thing. Ramchandra in his individual capacity, resident or non-resident? By looking at this question, what do you understand? Individual is resident or non-resident? First, can I say that for the year 24-25, the person is in India only for 50 days? Neither 182 days nor 60 days. Can I say no condition is satisfied over here? And if no basic condition is satisfied, the person himself will become what? Non-resident. So basically the individual is non-resident in his personal capacity. Now let us think about HUF. For HUF, what we need to check first? Control and management. And can I say the first line itself says that HUF is partly controlled from India. If it is partly controlled from India, the HUF will become resident. And once the HUF is becoming resident, now we need to check additional conditions of Karta. Past 7 years, past 10 years, and accordingly we'll decide that what is the final residential status of HUF. See what I have written first. Residential status of HUF as per section 6 subsection 2. HUF is resident because partly controlled from India. Now we will check additional condition. Additional condition of whom? Karta. See, in the question it is written that since 2021, he is visiting for 50 days. Prior to that, he was visiting for 200 days. So can I say 2021 and onwards 50. And prior to that, every year he was there in India for how many days? 200 days. Here I have presented all the 10 years in one column itself. You can present in any manner. Now, wherever there is more than 182 days, can I say in all those years he is resident? But here in all these 5 years or 4 years, he is only 50 days in India. Less than 60 days, less than 182 days. So all those 4 years he will become what? Non-resident. So can I say we want only 2 times resident, the person is 6 times residents. Plus preceding 7-year ka total is also more than 730 days. Both additional condition fulfilled of Karta, and hence HUF will become R and OR. See a classic example where a non-resident, the Karta is non-resident, but HUF is resident and ordinary resident. So basically both person ka residential status is different from each other. They don't have any correlation with each other. Based on this, let us refer module ka illustration number 4. Illustration number 4 of module, that is in the illustration part. The business of HUF is transacted from Australia and all the policy decisions are taken there. Now, by looking at this first line, what you understand? Can I say control is outside India, management is also outside India, and that's why the HUF will become non-resident because nothing is being done from India. Achha, Mr. E, the Karta of HUF, who was born in Kolkata, visit India during the previous year 24-25 after 15 years. So can I say since past 15 years, he was not there in India at all. He was not there in India at all. He comes to India on 1st April 24 and leaves for Australia on 1st December 24. Determine the residential status of Mr. E and HUF. For HUF, we already found non-resident. Now we are looking at the residential status of Mr. E. First of all, you determine how many number of days he was there in India for the year 24-25. Can I say he came in India on 1st April 24? He left on 1st December. So can I say April 30, May 31, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, only one day. So total he is there in India for 245 days, which is more than 182 days. So that's why he will become what? Resident. Now once he is resident, what we are supposed to check? Both additional condition. What to check? What they have written? He came to India after 15 years. So when I say past 10 years, all the data is 0000, and hence this person do not satisfy any of the additional condition, and hence he becomes what? Resident, but not ordinary resident, RBNOR. See, the Karta is RBNOR, but the HUF is basically how what? Non-resident. Again, both residential status are separate from each other. They don't have any linkage with each other. Are you understanding this easy common point? Now, that was everything about residential status of HUF. Section 6 subsection 2 plus section 6 subsection 6. Now, residential status of firm, AOP, BOI, AJP, local authority. Means every other remaining person apart from company. Individual came separately, HUF came separately, company will come separately. All other are covered over here. But the section number is same as HUF, section 6 subsection 2, because the provisions are same. If control and management wholly outside India, non-resident, wholly or partly in India, resident, that's it. In the beginning of this chapter, yesterday I told you, either you can be individual HUF or you can be any other person. And for any other person, we just need to bifurcate resident or non-resident. We no need to bifurcate further. Why? For individual, you can check additional condition of individual. For HUF, you can check the additional condition of a Karta because there is only one Karta. Okay, but whose additional condition you will check in case of firm, AOP, BOI, AJP, local authority? Can I say there is more than one partner, more than one member? Whose additional condition you will check? And what if they get a tie? One person satisfy both conditions, one person don't satisfy both conditions. It's too much complexity, na? That's why they said, okay, we will keep up to resident, will not see further. So if you are resident, that's okay. But that's it. Will not further bifurcate because we can't check additional condition of any one person over here. There are more than one owner, and that's why no bifurcation is required. This particular point can come into your examination just for an MCQ, not in descriptive. Okay. Again, residential status of a company. This can also be asked as MCQ. Now, a company either can be Indian company or it can be other than Indian company. What is the simple matlab of Indian company? A company which is registered in India, having registered office in India. By default, resident. By default, resident. No need to see anything else. If it is an Indian company, resident. But if it is a other than Indian company, that is foreign company. We need to check where is the poem. Poem, place of effective management. And the short form of this word is called as poem. Place of effective management, that is poem. The exact meaning of place of effective management we'll learn. It is a CBDT circular. And that circular they have covered in CA final. It is not a part of CA inter. In a very easy manner, if I explain you, it is a detailed investigation, like lifting of corporate wealth. That who is actually managing the company, who is actually the owner of the company, who is actually taken care of the company, where he is situated. That entire investigation is called as place of effective management. If place of effective management is in India, that foreign company will become resident of India. If that place of effective management is outside India, that foreign company will become non-resident. Now understand that poem concept is not important for Indian company. It is to be seen when you are a foreign company. So for a company, Indian company by default resident, foreign company, where is the place of effective management? If it is in India, resident. If it is outside India, non-resident. Poem full form means place of effective management. Meaning we'll see in detail in CA final. Are you understanding this? And this can come just as an MCQ. That was A to Z about residential status. As I said yesterday also, important is individual. Balance all we can cover maximum in half an hour. And that we covered also. Individual we took sufficient time because it is more important. It is more detailed. Balance all thing is 1122 liner provision. Along with this, our one section, that is section 6, is completed. If we see individual residential status, section 6 subsection 1 plus section 6 subsection 6. HUF residential status, section 6 subsection 2 plus section 6 subsection 6. Firm residential status, section 6 subsection 2, which cover AOP, BOI, AJP, local authority also. And company ka residential status, section 6 subsection 3. That was the summary of entire section 6. Now, moving toward the very second part of this chapter. The second part for which we calculated the first part. Scope of income, section 5. Question arises, what is scope of income? Okay. Tell me, if you are a non-resident, can I ask you to pay the tax on your income earned in USA? Means if tomorrow I go to USA and I ask to any of the US citizen, though you never came to India, you are non-resident of India, but you are supposed to pay tax in India. Is it a way? No. So we have to decide now that from which status, which kind of income we can ask the tax. From which person, on how much income we can ask the tax. And that is decided, the boundaries are decided by scope of income. See, overall there are three kind of category: R&OR, RBNOR, NR. What is the simple meaning of R&OR? In current year also he was staying in India. In preceding years also he was mainly staying in India. What is the meaning of RBNOR? In current year that person was staying in India. In preceding year he was not much staying in India. And NR, in current year also he is not much in India. Now just because R&OR is mainly in India, his global income is taxable in India. Whenever he earned, wherever he earned, wherever the income is accrued, wherever the income is received, we are least concerned. If you are a resident, an ordinary resident, your global income is taxable in India. But it is not the case with RBNOR, it is not the case with non-resident. Then ultimately, what is the conclusion? That only we are supposed to study. Achha, scope of income, what this section has done. This section has bifurcated the income into 7 parts. But sir, you have said that there are five heads of income, beta, that is separate. That is, once after you decide that which kind of income is taxable, those taxable income is to be calculated as per those five heads. What I'm saying as of now, first we need to decide the taxability, na? That whether we can take tax or not. And for that determination, income is divided into seven categories based on where it is accrued, where it is received, and like that. And one more I have added from my side. So total how much category? Eight category. We have to understand the scope, the taxability of this eight kind of income. To be very frank, it is very easy concept. The process of understanding can be thoda difficult. But once we are done with the process, once we are done with the question answers, you will realize that it is so easy to crack those question answers. It is so easy to give the answers of question answers. And I will try my best to take it to the practical level also so that you can understand what they are actually talking about. Let's understand the first point. Income received in India, whether or not accrued in India. Income received in India, whether or not accrued in India. Now, what do I mean by that? First of all, what is the meaning of accrued in India? Where the income is accrued, accrued means generated. So if they are saying income accrued in India, they mean to say income generated in India. If they say income accrued outside India, they mean to say income generated outside India. How to decide that where income is generated? In a very simple meaning, the place where you raise the invoice, the place from where you sign the agreement to earn the income, that is the place where your income is accrued. Let me give you some example. I have a house property in China. In China, I have a house property. I stay in USA, and what I have decided is I will give this house property on a rental basis, and that rent agreement I have done in USA. Agreement is done in USA. So tell me, property is in China, agreement of rent is done in USA. In which country this rental income is accrued? USA. Because the agreement is made in which country? USA. And that is the place where your income is accrued. Now, what is the first line says? You don't see where your income is accrued. But if your income is received in India for the first time, then it will be taxable in India for all the status, either R&OR or RBNOR or non-resident. It will be taxable in India if it is received in India. Now let me give 2 to 3 examples for this. Let's say there is a person, Mr. Agam, and what I have decided, I will go to USA for doing job, and I have signed a rent employment agreement in USA. So tell me, my salary income is taxable in my salary income is accrued in which country? USA. But what I have told to my employer, don't give salary to me. Give salary directly to my Indian bank account. So my employer is crediting my salary in my Indian bank account so that my parents can withdraw that money. Now can I say, though my income accrued in USA, but I have received in India, and hence this salary income will be taxable to me, even though I am R&OR, even though I am RBNOR, even though I am non-resident, it don't matter. I have received in India, so it will be taxable in India. That's a second example. Let's say I am in Bangladesh, and basically I'm doing some business in India. I have found a customer in India. He is ready to do the business with me. I will raise the invoice from Bangladesh, so my business income will accrue in Bangladesh. But that Indian customer is saying that I will not send money to Bangladesh. I will give money only in India. So what I am doing is, even though I am Bangladeshi person, I am opening a bank account in India to receive that amount. And once that will be received, I will take it to Bangladesh. But first I will receive that business income where? In India. And that's why the first point says that if income received in India, it will be taxable to all. Even in this case, though my invoice is raised from Bangladesh, but it is received in India, it will be taxable in India. That is the first point. Income received in India, whether or not accrued in India, taxable to all. Second point, income deemed to be received in India. Now, what is the meaning of deemed received in India? Actually, it is not received in India. It is assumed that you have received in India. Now, how it can be assumed? These 2 points are there. One is section 7, employer contribution to provident fund. Another one is TDS. Both these points will understand in future chapters. As of now, you can just remember, if income is deemed received in India, even itself will be taxable to all the three status. Up to now, if 2 points I want to summarize, received in India, deemed received in India, taxable to all the three. Okay. Third point, income accruing or arising in India, whether or not received in India. See how different they are saying. What they said in the first point, received in India, we don't care about accrual. If received in India, taxable to all. In third point, what we say? What they say? We are not concerned about where you receive. If it is accrued in India, then also it is taxable to all. Moral of the story, either accrued in India or received in India, in both the cases it will be taxable to all. Now, what is this third point? Let me explain you. For example, I'm in India and I'm doing business from India. So basically, from where I will raise my invoices, India. I'm doing a business with a person who is in Russia. Don't take me otherwise. I'm doing a business with a person who is in Russia, and that person has said me that he will not give me money in India. So what I have done, I have opened a bank account in Russia so that he can pay me the money over there. Then I will brought it to India. So I have opened an account in Russia. He paid me income in Russia. So I received the income in Russia. But can I say invoice is raised from India? That means income accrued in India. Table ka point number 3, I will be taxable in India. Even though I am R&OR, even though I am RBNOR, even though I am a non-resident, it doesn't matter. Similarly, let's say I have a house property in USA and I want to give it on a rent. And the person who is a tenant will pay me rent in USA. But the rent agreement is signed in India. Now, can I say though the rental income is received in USA, but it accrued in India? Table ka point number 3. If it is accrued in India, it will be taxable to all the three status, R&OR, RBN or non-resident. So, third point, accrued or arised in India, taxable to all the three status. Fourth point, income deemed to accrue or arise in India. It's a height. Income is not received in India. Actually, income is not accrued in India. They are assuming for certain transactions that these incomes are deemed accrued in India. And by saying that, it will be taxable to all the three status in India. Now, why to assume any income accruing from India, even though it is actually not? This we'll understand soon after this table as a separate section number 9. There are some 8 to 9 transactions. If these transactions are there, assume that it is being earned in India, it is accrued in India, and hence taxable in India. So as of now, we are keeping it pending. Once this table is done, afterwards we'll understand. If I just summarize whatever we have done up to now in this section 5 scope of income in one line, if income received in India or deemed received in India or accrued in India or deemed accrued in India, it will be taxable to all the three status in India. But now the things will change. See the fifth one. Income received and accrued outside India from a business which is controlled or a profession which is set up, means control in India. For example, let's say Madhu is a person who is staying in India. Now she went to, for example, Dubai, and she opened a branch in Dubai. So what will happen? Her income will accrue in Dubai because the bills will be raised from Dubai. Now she has opened a bank account also, so all the income will be received in Dubai, accrued outside India, received outside India. But then what she has said to all the employees over there, whatever decision you take, you need final my approval. And then she came back to India. So all the policy decisions are taken from India. So basically the business is controlled from India. Can I say this is such a kind of business which is accrued outside India, received outside India, controlled from India. Now, this business income will be taxable to Madhu only if she is R&OR or RBNOR. It will not be taxable to Madhu if she is non-resident. Here, non-resident taxability is not there. For such a business which only have one connection, that is only control is done from India, because of that you cannot tax a non-resident in India. But if control is in India, and if a person is R&OR or RBNOR, the business actually belongs to India, it will be taxable in India. Now, why it is not taxable to a non-resident? Let me give you one simple example. One example, imaginary example. Let's say today Trump visit India as the president of USA, and he roam around with Modi here and there for 2 days. And after 2 days, when he is going back to his own country, so in the entire year, Mr. Trump is there in India only for 2 days. He is a non-resident. Now, while he was there in India for 2 days, Modi ji has heard some talks which he was doing on a phone. And after 2 days, Modi ji is asking to his translator that what he was talking on the phone. And let's say the translator said that Trump was saying about that he has earned a 7,000 crore rupees of business deal. He has finalized that deal and he was saying that he will earn a profit of 4,000 crore. He was so happy on that day. Now, what Modi ji will think about that even though Trump belongs to USA, even though Trump is a non-resident of USA, even though his business is in USA, even though he will receive the amount in USA, but he controlled that business while he was in India. Let me ask tax from him that please pay tax on your 5,000 crore rupees. Whether he will pay us tax or he will have tariffs. Obviously, he will not pay the tax. Is it a rule that if you are coming to India, even for few days, you have to switch off your phone, you have to switch off your mail, no talk of business because we will tax you otherwise? Is it a good thing? No. And that's why this income is not taxable to a non-resident. But if you are majority of the time staying in India, then okay, we are okay to tax you. Even though for that business, which is totally outside India, just control is done from India. So what is the fifth point is all about? Income accrued outside India, received outside India, control from India, taxable to R&OR, RBNOR, not taxable to non-resident. Sixth point, income received outside India, accrued outside India, from a B/P, that is business or profession, controlled outside India. Nothing is related to India. It is received outside India, it is controlled outside India, it is accrued outside India. Let's say in the example of Madhu, she went to Dubai, she started a business in Dubai, she is receiving the income in Dubai. Now she herself is also staying in Dubai. So control is also done from Dubai. What India is doing in the picture? Nothing. So this kind of income is not taxable in India if you are RBNOR or non-resident. Here RBNOR also not taxable. But if you are a resident and ordinary resident, so we just said na global income taxable in India. So even though this income actually belongs to Dubai, you are R&OR of India, you have to pay global income tax in India. So how fifth point and sixth point are different from each other? In fifth point, control is done in India. So it is taxable to two status, R&OR, RBNOR. In the sixth point, control is also not done from India and hence it is only taxable to R&OR. Seventh point is same as sixth point. The only difference is sixth point is for business and profession, seventh point is for any other income, salary, dividend, interest, rent, etc. If any income other than business and profession received या accrued outside India, this income will only be taxable to R and OR. It will not be taxable to non-resident. It will not be taxable to RBNOR. Same like sixth point. For example, I'm doing job in USA. I'm receiving salary in USA. Can I say accrued in USA, received in USA? Nothing is taxable in India if I am a RBNOR or non-resident. I have some foreign company ke shares from which I'm receiving dividend in foreign country. Accrued outside India, received outside India. I have house property in USA. I'm getting rental income in USA. Accrued outside India, received outside India. This kind of income is taxable in India only if you are what? Resident and ordinary resident of India. So tell me what is the conclusion up to now? First of all, four things were there together. Accrued in India, deemed accrued in India, received in India, deemed received in India, taxable to all the three status. Accrued received outside India from a business या profession controlled या set up from India, R&OR, RBNOR. Accrued received outside India from business profession which is controlled also from outside India, only R&OR. Any other income accrued or received outside India, only R&OR. Now tell me, last year, 23-24, I was in UK and I have rendered some professional services over there for which I have got professional fees. And that I have kept in my UK ka bank account. Now in the year 24-25, I shifted myself to India and I opened one Indian bank account. So what I'm doing is, whatever was the bank balance in UK, I transferred it to my Indian bank account in the year 24-25. So basically in the year 24-25, I have remitted my money from UK to India. Tell me, to which status this income will be taxable in the year 24-25? To which status it will be taxable in India? Can I say this is not an income of this year? This was an income of 23-24. Whatever will be the taxability, it will be of 23-24. This year, what I'm doing, I'm transferring my money from my bank account to my another bank account. It is just an inflow. It is not an income. Income was of last year. So for the year 24-25 is merely a remittance. And remittance is not taxable. It will be taxable if it is first time received in India. This is not first time received. First time it was received in UK. And so just transferring my money to India, it is merely an inflow. So this is a past year income remitted to India. It will be taxable to no one because this is not an income. That is the eighth category I have added from my side. Income earned in earlier years brought to India, it is merely inflow. It is merely remittance, not at all taxable to anyone. Okay, now I'm asking you a question. You need to give me the answer. I have some income accrued in Bhutan, received in Bhutan, later on remitted to India. Later on remitted to India. Tell me, to whom this income will be taxable? RNR, RBNO or NR? All the three, all the two, to whom? To whom this income will be taxable? Now, here I have not said that this income is belonging to last year. I have just used the word later on it remitted to India. That means it is the income of this year. First, I have received outside India. In this year only, I am transferring it to India. It is not past year income. It is not eighth category. This is the seventh category. Income accrued outside India, received outside India. It will be taxable to R and OR. You have to assume it last year ki income only if it is specifically written in the question. Last year, past year, earlier years. Then only it will be taxable to no one. But if nothing is written, it will be a income of this year. At least it will be taxable to whom? R and OR. Then sir, what you have to do with this later on remitted to India? Nothing. Remittance wala part is always to be ignored. What I'm saying, remittance wala part is always to be ignored because remittance ka simple meaning is what? Transferring your income from your bank account to another bank account. And that's why in that case it will be taxable to no one. So remittance wala part is to be ignored. See what note I have written over here. If words are remitted to India, that means it is first received outside India, then in this year only brought to India. Such income will be taxable to R and OR. If specifically the words are written prior years, then only assume it is past year income. In that case, it will be taxable to no one. There can be so many question answers based on this. We will solve it one by one after section 9. First, I have written this adjustment. Solve this adjustment. Income of rupees 1 lakh from business outside India, controlled from India. 70,000 is received in India. So meaning thereby balance 30,000 must be received outside India. Tell me to which status it will be taxable, how much? Can I say the income, the business is controlled from India? And it is controlled from India. It is table ka point number 5. R and OR, RBNOR, to both it will be completely taxable. So here also 1 lakh, here also 1 lakh. Fully taxable because control is done from India. Table ka point number 5. However, as per table ka point number 5, it is not taxable to non-resident. But here in this case, non-resident has done a small mistake. Even he has received 70,000 in India. And whatever you receive in India, can I say that much is always taxable in India as per table ka point number 1. And hence, to a non-resident, 70,000 will be taxable in India. See, for this to total 1 lakh is taxable because of table ka point number 5. But this 70,000 is taxable to non-resident because table ka point number 1 is applied, received in India. Are you understanding this? This is treated as one of the complex transactions from this table, wherein I have merged two cases. So balance though will be very simple. For example, if I ask you, what if I have a business in Bangladesh, but the money is received in India? To whom it is taxable? All, because it is received in India. Acha, what if I tell you I have a business in India, but the money is received in Pakistan? Can I say business is in India, so that income is accrued in India? It will be taxable to all the three status. What if I tell you I have a business in USA, received in USA, controlled from India? Can I say it is taxable to R and OR and RBNOR? It is not taxable to a non-resident. What if I tell you I have a foreign company ke shares and I have received dividend of that? I have received foreign company ke shares and I have received dividend of that in foreign country. Can I say now it become table ka point number 7? Accrued outside India, received outside India, only taxable to R and OR. What if I tell you I am doing a job in Australia and I'm receiving salary in Australia? Can I say accrued outside India, received outside India, only taxable to R and OR? What if I tell you past year ki income remitted to India during the year? Table ka point number 8, it will be taxable to no one. Are you understanding this? So accordingly, you have to decide which kind of income it is. And accordingly, you have to give the answer. If it is taxable to which category and how much. But in this entire table, we have not understood two things. First, what is the meaning of deemed to be received in India? But that too I said that it will be discussed in later chapter. Second, what is the meaning of deemed to accrue or rise in India? That we are supposed to understand in this chapter now. Section 9. Let me tell you, it is little bit technical. I have seen many faculties, I have seen many lectures wherein section 9 is completed just in 5 to 10 minutes by giving the simple summary of this section, and the question answers can also be solved. But I will generally teach this particular section for approx 40-45 minutes. Today it won't be completed. Still it will be remaining thoda, which will be completed in the next week, Monday. But why? Why I'm teaching you for this many long time? Because I'm covering whatever is given in ICI module. Why I'm covering that? Not to do any kind of time pass. But I have seen several papers of inter CA wherein the detailed part is also asked. So why to leave that one point also? And because of that, we will understand entire section 9 with detailed explanation, with practical examples. And I'm sure you will understand each and everything. The process is little bit difficult, but once it is done now, all the question answers you will be able to solve it easily. So we are beginning with section 9, that is deemed to accrue or arise in India, which is taxable to all. Acha, before I move to section 9, first of all, just revise section 5, that is scope of income. Received in India, deemed received in India, accrued in India, deemed accrued in India, taxable to all. Accrued and received outside India, controlled from India, R&OR, RBNOR. Accrued, received, controlled outside India, R&OR. Any other income accrued, received outside India, R&OR. Past year income remitted to India, no one. Now what we are going to understand? Deemed to accrue or arise in India. That is section 9. Why there is a need to bring this section first of all? What was so much need of bringing this section? There are so many people, mainly non-resident. See, this section is mainly targeting non-resident. Simple reason. If R&OR, then the global income taxable in India. Then whatever you show, we are least concerned. Who were trying to hide their income? Non-resident. By showing that this income don't belongs to India. So not taxable in India. But if we see in detail, if we do investigation, we will realize that is this income is actually belonging to India. They have just signed the agreement outside India. They have just raised the invoice outside India. So that apparently it is showed that, okay, this is accrued outside India, but actually it is not outside India. This income belongs to India. And that's why it should be taxable in India. And because of this thought, at that time, finance minister brought this section 9, which covers some transaction. And if your case is covered by this transaction, the income will be deemed to accrue or arise in India. First of all, let me give a summary of this section and then we'll go to the detailed part. If you are earning a business income because you have some connections in India, your agent are there in India, etc., etc., your income will be taxable in India by saying that it is deemed to accrue or arise in India. If you are earning any other rental income, interest income, dividend income, and those income is earned because your asset is situated in India, then also that income is taxable in India. If you are earning any capital gain from any capital asset which is situated in India, then again that capital gain is taxable in India. If you are earning any salary income, but your services are ultimately used in India, you are in whatever country, your salary income is taxable in India because you are giving the services in India. You are earning interest income. You are earning interest income. You are earning royalty income. You are earning technical fees. But your money, your asset, your services sorry, are used in India, then also ultimately this three income will be taxable in India. Finally, if you are getting any gift income, if you are getting any gift income, and that gift is received from India, then that gift income is also taxable in India. This is the summary of Section 9. Let me repeat it. If you have a business because there was a connection in India, agents in India, taxable in India. You are receiving rent, dividend, interest because the ultimate asset from which this income is arise, those assets were in India. Income is taxable in India. You are getting capital gain because capital asset is in India, taxable in India. You are receiving salary income because the services are rendered in India. You are receiving interest, technical fee, royalty because your asset, money, fee, services are used in India. You are getting gift income which is received from India. In all the cases, your income will be taxable in India. It will be taxable in India. And if it is taxable in India, to whom it will be taxable in India? To all the three status. To all the three status, it will be taxable in India. R&R, RBNR, NR, because this income will be called as what? Deemed to accrue or arise in India. Now, one by one, we have to understand these cases, some exceptions, some main rules, all the things we are supposed to understand. But you can, click a photo or you can quickly note down this summary. This is a quick summary of Section 9. Quickly note it down. Section 9 summary. Now let us understand one by one each and everything in detail. The very first point of Section 9, business connection in India. Let me explain you with some example. Let's say there is a person called Mr. A who is in China. He wants to open a branch in India because he see there is a huge market in India, and if he will sell his product in India, he will gain a huge profit. But if he open a branch in India, his invoices were raised in India. And if invoices will be raised from India, that will be accrued in India, that will be taxable in India. And he don't want to pay tax in India. So what he's doing, he's not opening any branch in India. He will raise the invoice from China only. He will tell the customer to send the money to China only. Accrued from China, received in China, controlled from China, taxable in China, especially to non-resident of India. It will not be taxable in India. But then how to grab the customers? So what he's doing, he's sending his employee to India. And what he's telling to his employee, you work like my agent, you meet to the customer, you make them convinced to do business with us. And if they're ready for that, you get him connected with me. I will do necessary further procedure. We will do business with him. We will send the goods. We will send the invoice from China. And he will send the money in China. So basically, Mr. A don't want to comes to India. He don't want to open a branch in India. But what he's doing is just sending his agent in India who is finding the customer, and that customer will do business in China. What Indian government is saying to them, it's okay, we understood that you are not coming to China. We are also understanding that Indian customers, because of them you are doing business, but whether these Indian customers came with you on their own, no, they came to China because you have sent your employee in India. You have sent your connection in India. And that connection is working like a, you know, that connection is working like a branch only. So what we will assume, whatever is the business that you have done in China, because of this connection in India, that much business will be taxable in India because this is said as business connection in India. So if you send your agent to India and because of that agent you are doing business outside India, it is business connection in India, it will be taxable in India. See what I have written? If business is done because of agent in India, it is business connection in India, taxable to all. So what generally they want to say in a summarized manner, if you do business because of India, it will be taxable in India. What they are saying, if you do business because of India, it will be taxable in India. Now, don't you think they are saying so much exhaustive that something because of India means taxable in India? Now, see what disaster can happen because of this. For example, there is a Pakistani news channel. That news channel is published in Pakistan. The viewers are from Pakistan. But this Pakistani news channel is showing the news of India. Can India say to Pakistani news channel that you are showing Indian news? Because of India, you are getting TRP. Because of India, you are earning profit. Please pay tax in India because you are showing Indian news. We are also showing international newses. Whether they came to us for charging the tax that you are showing our news and that's why you have to pay tax in our country. No. But we will say this because our section 9 has said this. If business connection in India, it will be taxable in India. Achha, second example. Fast and Furious 6. If you know, this movie ka 10 minutes ka shooting was done in India. Can India say that because of 10 minutes ka shooting is done in India, your movie got completed and because of that you got a profit, so you have to pay tax in India because there is a business connection in India? Yes, we can say that because the section is so wide to cover these two transactions. But this is disaster. And that's why we have created some exception. Following shall not be treated as business connection in India. So following income will not be taxable in India to non-resident. Yeah, RBNOR. See, to R and OR ko to global income taxable in India. We are mainly discussing about two status, RBNOR, NR. So these three are exception. This is not taxable in India. First, activities merely confined. What is the meaning of confined? Restricted. Confined, the meaning thereby restricted only. Activities are merely confined to shooting of cinematographic film in India. So if we are merely shooting films in India, like Fast and Furious 6, it will not be taxable in India. It will not be called as business connection in India. Second, merely collection of news and views from India or transmission outside India. Transmission outside India means you are showing that news, you are showing that views outside India. But that news and views belongs to India, then it is okay. Still, it is not a business connection in India. Tell me, Pakistani news channel, can I say the publication, the transmission is outside India? Though the news is of India, we will not ask tax from that. So it is also exempted. So first exception, activities merely confined to shooting of cinematographic film is not a business connection. Second exception, merely collection of news and views from India, transmission outside India is not a business connection in India. Third one, let's assume I'm in Sri Lanka. I'm doing cloth manufacturing and all the operations are done in Sri Lanka and the goods are sold in Sri Lanka. Basically, nothing is related to India. But only one thing is there, which is a problematic for me in Sri Lanka. The cotton, that is the raw material, is very costly. But in India, it is very cheap. So what I'm thinking is, I will purchase raw material from India and I will directly doing export to my own country, Sri Lanka. Further operation I will do in Sri Lanka, I will sell it in the Sri Lanka, but that's it. What I'm doing India, what I'm doing from India, just purchasing raw material and directly doing export. Can government say that because one of the operation is done in India, whatever will be the profit of this business, it will be taxable in India, business connection? No. When that raw material is purchased, can I say GST was paid? It is enough, na? Why you are asking income tax on the profit? And that's why the third exception, purchasing goods from India as a raw material and directly export to other country will not be called as business connection in India. It is also exempted. But exempted for RBNOR and NR because it will be counted as outside India की income. To R and OR को तो global income taxable in India. So tell me, what is the first point? Business connection in India, like sending the agent in India, taxable in India. Three exceptions. Activities merely confined to shooting of cinematographic film in India, not taxable in India. Second, merely collection of news and views from India for transmission outside India, not taxable in India. Purchasing raw material from India directly doing export is also not called as business connection in India. That was with regards to business income. The wordings I have taken care. See, in this entire summary, though the things are written in very concise manner, it will be exhaustive. I have said you in the first lecture also. Look, I have taken care that no words are diluted. Whatever are the words written by Barak, whatever are the words written by module, the same words are picked up. Though this is a summarized manner, but still it has a language command which you need to remember, which you need to write so that it looks like a legal language. Like the word confined. I could have written the word restricted. Now, why I have written the word confined? It is an act word. With transmission outside India, act word. These words are just taken from module that is taken care of. Second point. Let's assume I have a property in India. Property means house property. I'm living in USA. My one of the friend wants to come to India for some time and wants to use this property. So I have given this property to my friend on a rental basis. We have done the rent agreement in USA. He is paying me rent in USA. Can I say the agreement is made in USA, accrued in USA? Rent is received in USA. Array, but what Indian government is saying? Why this rental income arised? Because there is a house in India. So the rental income belongs to India, obviously. Just by doing agreement outside India, you are saying that income is not of India. It is actually not true, na? The property is in India, and because of that, you are earning income. That means that income belongs to India. That is what the second point is. Any income from house property in India, asset in India, capital gain from capital asset which belongs to India, dividend paid by Indian company, salary income because services are provided in India. If ultimately the source is India, salary, rent, interest, dividend, capital gain, all will be taxable in India because the ultimate source is in India. For example, I am in Australia and I want to join TCS, but I'm okay to do work from home. So I will do job from Australia. I will give my services from Australia, but the services will be utilized in India. Can I say services provided in India? So that salary will also be taxable in India. Acha, example of house property I also gave you that I have a property in India, so rental income will be deemed to accrue or arise in India. Now let's say I have a land in India. My ancestrals have purchased that. That capital asset I'm selling outside India to somebody else. Array, but the capital asset is situated in India, so the capital gain will be taxable in India. What if I have an Indian company ke shares? That is an Indian asset. I'm selling it in London to some London citizen. Array, but that asset is situated in India, na? Intangible to intangible. That's where that capital gain will be taxable in India. What if I have Indian company ke shares purchased outside India, but the shares belongs to Indian company and that company is giving dividend to me outside India. Though I am purchasing the shares outside India, receiving dividend outside India, but the shares are situated in India, that dividend will be taxable in India because that ultimate source is in India. Hey, people, are you getting my point? Yes or no? Though little bit technical, but I hope you all understand this. The things which are important can never be that much easy. It is difficult, but what is difficult? The process to understand is difficult. The answer will came out easily if you understand it thoroughly. So what was the first point? If Business connection in India, it will be taxable in India. If any asset situated in India, because of that, whatever income is earned, that will be taxable in India. Like example, I have written house property in Mumbai, rent paid in USA, interest from bank account in India, capital gain from Indian company के shares. अच्छा, one note I have written. In case of a rental income from house property, it is not fully taxable. You are always supposed to take 30% standard deduction. And this we'll learn in the next lecture, that is on Monday, when after this chapter we'll start income from house property. In that we will understand that if let's say somebody is giving me a rent of rupees 1 lakh, and if it is taxable in India, it is not taxable fully 1 lakh, it will be taxable 1 lakh minus fixed 30% deduction. So how much will be taxable to me? 70,000. Why so? That we'll understand in house property. Then sir, why you are telling this as of now? To solve some question answers, we need to take this 30% standard deduction. And because of that, I am telling you as of now that if in the question it is given rental income is 5 lakh, you will not tax full 5 lakh. What you will tax? 5 lakh minus 30%, that is 3 lakh 50,000. Okay. Then third point, income from salary paid by government of India for services rendered outside India. See, one we saw, if your services are received in India, your salary is taxable in India. That was the second point. Now what they are saying, you are an Indian government employee, but you are working outside India. Tell me, is it possible that I am a government of India ka employee, but I am not working in India, I am working outside India? Yes, you are in a external affairs, you are in visa office, passport office of India, which is situated outside India. You are a raw agent. You are working outside India on behalf of Indian government. So basically, you are a government employee working outside India. Then to whom? To you. Who is paying you the salary? Can I say government of India? Then what government of India is saying? If we are paying you the salary, we will charge the tax. So if salary paid by government of India, even though service is rendered outside India, it will be taxable in India, deemed to accrue or arise in India, provided you are an Indian citizen. This point is applicable if you are an Indian citizen. So if you are an Indian citizen working outside India, but you are an employee of Indian government, your salary will be taxable in India. And to whom it will be taxable? Can I say what point we are learning? Deemed to accrue or arise in India. And that point is applicable for all the three status. To all the three status, it will be taxable in India. And in that, what was the first point? Business connection in India. Second point, if any asset in India, income is taxable in India. Third point, if you are a government of India ka employee as an Indian citizen, but you are working outside India, your salary will be taxable in India. But we will understand in salary chapter, there is one exemption related to this. Section 10, clause 7. I've said you in my first lecture, whenever I say section 10, it is related to exemption. Along with salary, some employer gives you allowances for your expenditure. They give you some benefits that is called as perquisite. And these two words will understand in salary chapter, allowances and perquisite. Now what section 10 clause 7 says, if you are working outside India, but you are an Indian citizen, government is giving you allowances or perquisite, it will be exempted. It will not be taxable. So if you are Indian citizen, you are working outside India, you are a government of India ka employee, you are receiving salary, it will be taxable. You are receiving allowances, it will be exempted. You are receiving perquisites, it will be exempted. So what is the exact meaning of allowances? What is the exact meaning of perquisites? Salary chapter. As of now, you just need to remember this. To solve the question answers, I'm giving you the cross reference. As of now, the simple point you have to remember, salary paid by government of India for services rendered outside India taxable, but allowances and perquisite will be exempted. Before I move forward, let us first revise whatever we have done up to now in today's lecture. from beginning till end. Let's see how much you remember. Residential status. Either you can be individual HUF or you can be any other person. If you are individual HUF, either you can be resident or you can be non-resident. If you are resident, you can be either R and OR or it can be RBN. If you are any other person, you will be resident or non-resident. For the residential status of individual, first we have to see whether general cases or exceptional cases. General cases, first will tell you both additional condition, you have to satisfy any one of them. If satisfied, resident, otherwise non-resident. If you are resident, then we'll tell you two additional condition. If both are satisfied, you will be R and OR, otherwise you will be RB and OR. Section 6, subsection 1, basic condition number 1, you should be in India for 182 days or 60 days during the year, 365 in preceding 4 years. Achha, once you are resident, then we'll see two additional conditions. Section 6, subsection 6. You should be resident for at least 2 years out of 10 past year. And your stay in India should be minimum 730 days in past 7 years. If both of this satisfied, R and OR, otherwise RB and OR. But now 4 exceptional cases. You are an Indian citizen, you are leaving India for the purpose of employment, business, profession outside India. We'll see only 182 days if satisfied, resident, otherwise non-resident. Second, you are an Indian citizen, you are leaving India as a crew member of Indian ship going to foreign country. Again 182 days, 60 plus 365 not to be seen. Third, Indian citizen or person of Indian origin coming to India. First we will check 182 days. If satisfied, resident. If not satisfied, we will see what is your Indian income. If less than or equal to 15 lakh, non-resident. If more than 15 lakh, we'll check one more condition, 120 plus 365. If satisfied, RBNOR, otherwise non-resident. Fourth, Indian citizen, not non-resident as per all other condition. Indian income more than 15 lakh, not liable to pay tax in any other country or territory. You will become RBNOR, yato deemed resident. How to count presence of India for a crew member? Rule 126. 365 या 366 minus days as per CDC, that is continuous discharge certificate. The day when you entered the ship, the day when you left the ship, both are to be counted in the ship. Then we saw residential status of HUF, section 6 subsection 2. Where is the control? Where is the management? If both are outside India, non-resident. Wholly or partly from India, resident. Then you check both additional condition of Karta. Satisfied, so HUF will become R and OR, otherwise HUF will become RB and OR. Firm, AOP, BOI, AJP, local authority, control and management wholly outside India, non-resident, wholly or partly from India, resident. Section 6, subsection 3, company, Indian company resident. But if it is other than Indian company, where is the poem, place of effective management? If in India, resident, if outside India, non-resident. Then we saw scope of income, section 5. There were 7 points, I added one more from my side, total became 8 points. Received in India, deemed received in India, accrued in India, deemed accrued in India, taxable to all the three. Business या profession, accrued and received outside India, controlled from India, taxable to R and OR, RB and OR, not taxable to non-resident. 6th point was income accrued outside India, received outside India, controlled outside India, only taxable to R and OR. 7th point, any other income apart from business या profession, accrued या received outside India, only R and OR. 8th point, any past year income remitted in India during the year, it is an inflow, not an income, taxable to no one. Section 9, what is the meaning of deemed to accrue or arise in India? We saw 3 points. Business connection in India, taxable in India. 3 points are not called as business connection in India. Activities merely confined to shooting of cinematographic film. Merely collection news and views from India for transmission outside India. Merely purchasing raw material, directly doing export. These 3 things are exception. Second point, if any asset is located in India, any capital asset is located in India, any shares are of Indian company, whatever will be the rent income, interest income, dividend income, taxable in India. If you are providing services in India, your salary will be taxable in India. If you are working outside India as a government of India ka employee and you are Indian citizen, your salary will be taxable in India. But as per section 10 clause 7, your allowances and perquisite will be exempted. Still section 9 is not done. There is a point called interest, very important. technical fee, royalty, gift, and then so many question answers on this scope of income and all. Now my lecture will come on Sunday. Now my lecture will come on Monday. On Monday, in same time, we'll start further with section 9. I totally request you to first revise whatever we have done up to now in this chapter. Then come on Monday so that you can closely link each and everything and you can do question answers rightly. Thank you so much, guys. The lecture of today is over. Thank you.